2 of Diluting Al-Wala Wal-Bara, part of the Right Belief series, the Unveiled trilogy, written by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. This book will focus on awakening the faith in a non-faith-centered world. Explained, broken down, and brought to you, unlike before, by Ustada lailanasheeba. Join us Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on Sunnahfollowers.
To do is a screenshot. When I hold the put the pages of the PowerPoint up, I want you guys to take screenshots. Okay, so you can print them out with your phone, and that way you will have it like a little booklet, and you can attach it to pages 38, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to go over pages 38 through 41 of the book. And we're going to speak about, here we go, Brother HK, the whispers of Shaytan. And this is what Brother HK was asking about. How do the whispers of Shaytan impact the Fitrah, which is now inside the heart? And for those of you who have not yet bought the book, that's how the book looks. It's entitled Diluting Al-Wala Wal-Bara, part of the Unveiled trilogy, written by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. There he is. Okay. And it focuses on awakening your iman in a non-faith-centered world. I love this book. Okay. Over 500 pages. We ain't even a third of the way there. Okay, so let's speak about this. Here we go. I want everyone to understand what Allah means when he says this here. Listen to this verse of the Quran. Allah says, verily, Shaitan has no power over those who believe and put their trust only in Allah. What does this mean? That personal jinn that has been assigned to you when you reach puberty, he's going to do everything in his power to try to get you to go to the hellfire with him. And he will win unless you are a person who truly believes in Allah and who truly trusts in him. Do y'all see that? If you are not a Muslim who truly believes in Allah and truly trusts in him, he's going to take you out. And that's the problem. All of us claim to be people who believe in Allah, but most of us don't. If you don't have the correct belief system, you're lost. You're doomed. And we will see this even more during the times of the Antichrist. Remember, I did my whole series on the signs of the last hour. And we spoke about how when the Antichrist comes, Ad-Dajjal, when the Antichrist comes, he will make the people believe that he is Allah. And he will have most people in the world following him. There will only be a handful of believers who will be able to see through him. Most of the world will follow him. Why? Because the people will have deviated away from Islam so bad then. The Sunnah will be forgotten. Hadiths would have been replaced with fatwas like they are today. No one will be following the Sunnah except a handful of believers. Okay? We have to remember that Shaytan is our opponent. And that personal jinn that's assigned to us, he's an ally of Shaytan's. And he hoovers in your heart, and he's working constantly to mislead you, to entice you. He's the one that puts bad thoughts into your mind, your heart rather, and it goes from your heart to your mind. He's the one that makes evil behaviors appealing. He's the one that makes your desires appealing. So this is why it's important. And by the way, screenshot this. Screenshot the page now. This is why it's important to understand that the way to protect yourself from the influences of your jinn is by seeking the correct knowledge of Islam, asking Allah to help you. Because as Allah says, Shaytan can only deceive those who are not loyal to Allah. Shaytan can only deceive those who do not rely upon Allah, who do not have the correct belief system, who don't pray. If you're making your prayers, that's a great protection. But how many of us are praying correctly? I hate to inform you guys of the reality, but most of you American Muslims listening to me do not know the Fatiha. The Fatiha, this is the only part of the Quran that we must learn with the correct tajweed. The Fatiha, this is the only part of the Quran that we must memorize and recite for our prayers correctly. Most American Muslims cannot pronounce the Fatiha correctly. And most American Muslims don't even know the Tashahhud. The Tashahhud was taught to us by the Prophet too. That's a supplication. It's supposed to be made every time you pray too. But most Muslims in America don't know the Tashahhud, nor do they know the Fatiha. So the question is, how can you protect yourself from Shaytan if you are not performing your prayers correctly? Correctly. Because again, that's the only way that you can be immune from that influence of your jinn, by having the correct belief and practice of this religion. Okay? The existence and impact of Shaytan and his whispers present a tremendous threat to the integrity of the Fitrah if we're not cautious of it. That jinn will work hard to take you away from the good path. He plants evil notions in your mind through his whispers. He makes wicked behaviors and desires appear beautiful and compelling. And he makes the truth hard. A lot of you listening to me, instead of you focusing on my words, you're talking about, oh, this sister yells. I'm not yelling. This sister's voice is too harsh. So? And most of you that make that comment don't understand. I'm a woman. And Allah commands the believing woman to make her voice loud, to make her voice sharp when speaking publicly. So there's nothing wrong with my voice. I am a woman who fears Allah, and I'm obeying him because I'm teaching this religion publicly. I want you brothers to not be attracted to me because of my voice. Do y'all think I speak this way normally? No. This is not the way I would speak to my husband. This is not the way I speak to my grandchildren. But this is the way you will always hear me on this internet, because I fear my Lord and I obey him over any of you twisted people today. So stop focusing on my voice tone, because my voice tone is correct. And instead, focus on my words. That's how your jinn does. He'll make the truth appear ugly, but he'll make you listen to those other women with the soft voices, with the sweet diction, and they're telling you the opposite of what Allah says. So this is how the fitrah becomes polluted. This is how the fitrah becomes perverted. And the person then begins to cave in to his desires of the soul when his spiritual or her spiritual well-being is not strong. Okay? So to protect our fitrah from the whispers of your personal jinn, you have to always check your actions, check yourself to make sure that you're performing your actions in accordance to what Allah said and in accordance to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. We have to be mindful of the way our jinn will dupe us. We have to establish that connection with Allah through the Quran and its meaning, through the hadiths of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his example and the examples of his companions. And we have to get in the habit of not trying to teach ourselves this religion, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that we can never teach ourselves. He didn't teach himself. He said, ask the people of knowledge. Instead of thinking that you can teach yourself Islam, find the people of knowledge. And I don't mean the fake bladed ones. I mean the true scholars. Because most of y'all follow these other people who are not scholars. Attach yourself to the true knowledgeable people. And I can tell you this, the knowledgeable people, you ain't gonna like what they got to say. If it's a person that you following and listening to and you love what that person is saying, 9 times out of 10, that person is an awliya of Shaytan. Because remember, the truth is something that the soul don't want to hear. The truth is something the soul don't want to accept. So when you can tell if you following a knowledgeable person, because you're going to try to resist what he or she is saying. You're going to try to refute them when you can't, because they're sticking to Quran and Sunnah. Y'all understand? So as human beings, you know, that's the only way that we can avoid the traps of Shaytan, is by realizing that Allah's power and authority, we have to ask for that. We have to depend on Allah, on his guidance and his protection. Listen to this hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, my Lord commanded me to teach you what you do not know from what he has taught me. See, our Prophet Muhammad had a teacher. His teacher was Jibreel. Allah taught the Prophet through the angel Jibreel. The Prophet didn't teach himself. So if he didn't teach himself, why do you Muslims today think y'all can teach yourself? Okay? He said, Allah taught him that all wealth I bestow upon them is lawful. And I have created all my servants with the inclination to worship me. But the devils come to them and turn them away from their religion. They outlaw what has been made lawful for them. Y'all see that? That's what's happening today. And they command them to associate partners with me. And this is what we see today. The devils amongst mankind and the devils amongst the jinn. Remember, Shaytan has allies amongst the mankind too. They're the ones that tell you stuff is haram that's not, and tell you things are lawful that's not. They want to tell you that makeup is unlawful when it's not. But they'll turn around and tell you that smoking marijuana is lawful when it's not. Okay? So in this hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us that Allah commanded him to teach us what we don't know based on what he taught him. So you should be learning this religion the way the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught it. And you should have the understanding of it that his companions had, not the twisted understanding that many of us have today. And one of the things that Allah taught the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that money is not forbidden. It's permissible as long as you acquire it the proper way. And it's permissible as long as you use it the proper way. So this hadith, again, is an example of how Allah appeals to the fitrah. Again, Allah commanded us to worship him. After Allah created Adam and brought forth the souls of his progeny, remember, we testified then that we believed in Allah. Okay? So it's our nature to want to worship him, to seek him out. But so many of us allow our personal jinn to take us away from that purpose. Beautiful hadith. This hadith also mentions how the devils strive to take us away from the truth. They confuse us, mislead us. So we have to seek the knowledge of Islam to learn how to protect ourselves from this. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us how to protect ourselves from those whispers. He taught us how to protect ourselves from the temptations of the soul. He also taught us Allah's limitations regarding money and everything else. So again, guys, this hadith shows us the importance of, number one, learning this deen and learning it correctly. Number two, exercising awareness and seeking guidance from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and not anyone else. True Islam is what the Prophet Muhammad came with. Like we talked about the other day, when these brothers, these men and women who you guys think are scholars, when they come to you speaking about this deen, telling you what you should do, telling you what you should not do, you need to ask yourself, is this what the Prophet said to do? Is this what the Prophet did? Is this the understanding that his companions had? So now I'm going to give you guys a brief quiz, and it's only going to be a couple of questions just to see if you understood what I talked about right here. Number one, who are the people that Shaytan or your personal jinn cannot deceive? Who can explain to me the people whom Shaytan or your personal jinn cannot deceive? Go ahead, take the mic. Come on, people, let's go.
The people who have sole belief in Allah.
Who have what?
Sole belief
Good job. The people that truly believe in Allah. And what else? Anything else?
People with the correct belief system, people who worship him the way he legislated, and also like individuals who seek knowledge of the religion, the true knowledge based on the teachings of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his companions.
Exactly. And they rely and trust in Allah. Exactly. So that's why it's important, guys, for us to learn the religion correctly. For the little kids here, I think the person that answered the question is one of the kids. That's why you have to cling to this website. I know a lot of y'all like to play games on Twitch. There's nothing wrong with playing games. But remember to take away from those, to pull away from those games and learn, come to these classes to learn the deen correctly. Because that's going to be your protection against your jinn, knowledge of this religion, and make dua, asking Allah to give you understanding of it. That's important. You have to have understanding of what you learn. And also stick to Allah's laws, his rules, his obligations, and all of that. Good job. Next question. Our personal jinn is so powerful in regards to a weak person that it can make the bad and evil look good and beautiful. Who can give me an example of that? Give me an example of how your personal jinn can make something bad and evil appear good and beautiful. Give me an example. Anyone, go ahead. This is easy. Give me an example.
He can make things look good by saying, like taking something that's haram or something that's wrong and giving it a pretty name or a fancy name.
Yeah, give me an example. Yeah, that's true, but I want you to give me an example of it.
Like say, instead of saying birthday, people are saying born day or something like that.
MashaAllah, that's a good example. Look how many Muslims are celebrating born day. It's haram. Whether you call it birthday or born day, it's still worshiping someone and something other than Allah. This is haram. Good job. What's another example?
Another example is to make something looks beautiful to you is the kids that's in school celebrating Valentine's Day, or even looking at lights on Christmas trees and different things like that, trying to make it seem like it's beautiful, but it still has can lead you to worshiping like it make just, okay. Let me see.
Right. You're doing good.
Let me slow down. Okay, let me slow down. Okay. How a person can make something looks bad and evil.
Good job. Yeah, like look how many people, oh, that Christmas tree is so beautiful. Oh, it's so this. And next thing you know, you got a Christmas tree up in your house. Do you guys know that there are a lot? Oh, I'm gonna order this. There are a lot of Muslims. By the way, guys, the gingerbread loaf is out. Fresno, I know you like the gingerbread loaf at Starbucks. They got the gingerbread loaf. Okay, just let y'all know. But yeah, look how many people, oh, their Christmas tree is so beautiful. You'd be surprised, guys, how many Muslims got Christmas trees in their house. You'd be surprised how many Muslims actually put up Christmas trees. Talking about, oh, I'm just putting it up because it's pretty, because it's beautiful. Okay, good job. What about this? Who can give me an example as to how your jinn can make the truthful and righteous people appear to be liars and bad when they're not? That happens a lot. Give me an example of that. Anybody? How the jinn can make the truthful and righteous people appear to be liars and bad.
I was going to say this can be done by maybe talking about the way the righteous person is speaking to you, that they're yelling and hollering at you, or that they're being mean to you, or, you know, just doing derogatory things to you. So therefore they're made to look like they're bad people.
Oh, yeah. And that happens a lot. The few brothers out there who are given the dawah correctly, they're the ones being slandered. You can look on YouTube. The people that they slandering are the ones that are doing the right dawah, you know. But they want to call these brothers innovators, call these brothers deviators. All these brothers are what's that word? Pseudo this and pseudo that. When they're not pseudo anything. But that's how our personal jinn will make them appear. Or like the example I gave with myself. Y'all so busy talking about my voice. My voice is supposed to be this way. I went to school and learned how to make my voice this way. That's why I got a degree in mass communications. I'm a journalist. I know how to make my voice forceful so that Allah won't throw me in hell because I'm one of you women running around softening my voice publicly. I'm obeying my Lord. That's one thing y'all can't accuse me of, is not obeying Allah when it comes to my voice. Because this is how every Muslim woman is supposed to speak publicly. Now at home with my mane, it's different. You ain't my mane. How about this question? How can we avoid the traps of Shaytan through our personal jinn? What are some things that we can do to avoid the traps that Shaytan puts out through our jinn? What's some things we can do that'll help us to not fall victim to our jinn?
One of the things that you can do is seek refuge in Allah by saying A'udhu Billahi, to, you know, to get the jinn off your back.
MashaAllah. Seeking refuge, asking for Allah's help. What else?
I would say do the opposite of what your jinn is telling you. If he's telling you to like commit a sin, like do the act of good.
Good
That's
job.
like Allah.
Good job. Do the opposite. Your jinn is whispering in you to go ahead and try that joint. It ain't gonna hurt. Do the opposite. What else can we do that will keep us from falling victim to this crap?
Attach yourself to strong believing Muslims that can help you when you fall short and seek knowledge.
MashaAllah. Number one, attach yourself to strong, righteous, practicing Muslims. Because that's the biggest weapon. The Prophet said the greatest weapon that we have in our battle against Shaytan is each other. Hang around with strong, practicing Muslim women. Strong, practicing Muslim men. And also, like she said, seek the correct knowledge. Education of the religion is everything. It should be our priority, your priority, my priority, to want to learn this religion correctly. Oh yeah, I would like to go to school to be a nurse too. But my priority is going to be Islam, learning this religion correctly. That's my number one priority.